This music was before the whiskey. After 3-4 whiskeys, I have to play another music, like the play.
As the evening's whiskey glasses are cleared away at the King David Hotel, a new day dawns over the city of David, a city whose troubled 3,000-year history belies the serenity at Jerusalem's first luxury hotel. For world leaders, politicians, and dignitaries, the King David has been the hotel to stay and meet in ever since its doors were opened over 60 years ago. The King David's guests and staff were uniquely placed to see and hear Israel's history in the making.
The King David Hotel, in which I spent the best and the most joyful years of my life. To me, King David was the meeting place for the notable people in the Middle East. It was known for its love stories, and it was known for its spying stories.
So you would like some apple juice?
Yes,
Ah, you have already?
I have my glass. Yeah, just fill it up. Thank you.
أهلا وسهلا.
كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله كويس.
من وين أنت؟
أنا من القدس.
من القدس.
وأنت؟
أنا من خولون.
من خولون؟
أيوة. أنا
خولون.
اشتغل.
أنت اشتغلت هون؟
أيوة.
وأنا بشتغل هون.
40 وقت
45 سنة.
شفت.
هذه عتيقة الصورة. عتيقة كثير. عتيقة قديمة كثير الصورة.
In the 1930s, Palestine, as it was then called, was governed by the British. Jerusalem became the focus for international diplomacy, with the King David at its center. Nazi persecution was forcing Jews to flee Europe. Some found safety in Palestine and escaped the fate of those who were left behind.
When I came here in 1935, here in Palestine, my life was saved. Otherwise, I would stay there.
Itzhak Mandelbaum lost most of his family in Nazi death camps. He was born in Poland and became the King David's first and best-loved band leader. At almost 90, he still plays the clarinet, accordion, and piano. Under the British, Jerusalem became Palestine's leading city. Ravaged and disease-infested, it was ill-prepared for its new status as capital. A hotel had to be built to accommodate the arrival of politicians, refugees, and tourists needing a place to stay. Facing the old city walls, 4.5 acres of barren, rocky, desolate wasteland, purchased by a Jewish family living in Egypt, became the chosen site for Jerusalem's first 5-star hotel. Arabs and Jews worked side by side for 2 years on the excavation and construction of this Swiss-designed building. In January 1931, the King David Hotel welcomed its first guests.
The hotel was a playground, was a big, giant playground for me. I loved to play in the garden. I was destroying a lot of it, certainly not contributing anything. We lived in the hotel. This was my home. My father, Andre Hamburger, was general manager of the King David. I feared him very much. He always wanted everything to be perfect in the hotel, so a little boy was always bound to be a problem.
In the mid-1930s, the young Jacques Hamburger came with his family from Switzerland. For 10 years, the King David lobby was the center of his world.
A lot of the guests were military people, full of uniforms and weapons and so on. And as a little boy, little boys are always fascinated by this sort of thing.
Once upon a time, I was sitting down at the lobby, and I counted about 10 kings and generals and marshals roving around from one salon to the other. Like King Zogo of Albania, Princess Amal Atrash of Syria. I can even hear the voices of the stones whispering to me, and he said, do you remember us? We remember you.
Nasser Aden Nashashibi was born into a Palestinian family who have lived in Jerusalem for over 900 years. He is a prominent writer and confidant of Middle Eastern rulers.
We had, for instance, the king of Greece with his wife, Princess Helena, were staying at the hotel. The Yugoslav king was staying here.
Ernest Kaliber was born in Germany in 1919 and stayed there until 1936, when he left for Palestine. He worked in the King David as lobby manager before setting up a successful meat canning business.
We spoke in French, we spoke in English, we spoke in Arabic, we spoke German. This was really a mixing point. I would not say a melting point, but a mixing point. We had Jewish people coming here. They were mingling with the Arabs. They were all mixing together. In this corner, for instance, the Queen Mother of Egypt, she and her 3 daughters, they stayed here for 7 months.
She used to call herself the bird, les oiseaux of the soirée, of the nights. And she was a gambler. She used to go and gamble with a very famous Jewish lawyer called Levitsky. If you stay in the King David, you are looked after. Your life is safe, your stomach is safe.
There was never, even during wartime, a shortage. They had even brought camembert from Beirut, so they could have camembert for breakfast. We had 2 chefs. One was Italian, one was French. And they hated like they hate themselves even today. The French was the elder one. He was doing the buying. And one day I heard that he's buying camel meat. So I said, du chameau. Il said, tais-toi, imbécile. Il travaille depuis 1 an. Du chameau, il croit que c'est du bœuf. So the guests, the staff, and everyone was eating camel meat because the French chef wanted to prove an Italian doesn't know about cooking, about meat at all. And we had some of the Swiss, and we had Jewish employees. We had Arab employees. We had about 120 Sudanese staff, and we were here together.
The Sudanese, they are very, very tall, black like chocolate people, very nice, with white dresses and a red strip on them, and they did the whole work. He's the manager of the waiters, who got a ring in the nose. The Sudanese received £2 a month. I was paid that time £17 a month. I think it was one of the highest salaries. But the Sudanese worked 24 hours per day. They were like slaves. One of them, Salah, I liked him very much. He was engaged in Sudan for 3 years to serve in the King David, for 3 years. After 3 years, he got 3 months leave. He went home, and when he came back, I asked, how was it home? He said, very nice. He said, another 3 children. He was happy. I said, how is it possible? He said, by Allah. He was shot in the street by an English soldier.
When they had their love affairs, they didn't have him downstairs. They only had him upstairs. But there were going on. No doubt about it. Like the mother of Farouk. We knew exactly with whom she's going upstairs. We did not see it. But the daughters, they were terrible.
I enjoyed this room very much with Asmahan. She was born a mixture of a princess, a spy, and a singer. She was called the Matahari of the Middle East. And she was pretty, beautiful greenish eyes. The King David was a mixture of actors and hidden actors. The hidden actors were the spies. They were hiding themselves in the telephone room, talking to Matilda. And they were paying her to give them news. Who came, who left, who meets who, who's doing what. Even the Gestapo, Hitler's secret service, was here, undoubtedly. I used to come here, delegated from the Arab office. I used to come and talk politics of Palestine, politics of what solutions the Arab would accept and what solution the Jews were demanding.
I would like to tell you about what is connected with this song. One day I had a singer in my orchestra, the drummer, and he sang this in Hebrew. It was a Zionistic song. And then was a complaint from one of the Arab customers. Next day, the manager called me to the office and he said, listen, we have here not only Jews, we have here all Arabs, and this song you should not play. I told him, Mr. Hamburger, I came here in this country because I was grown up a Zionist. So he says, Mandelbaum, please do it for me. Play it, but not sing it.
In 1936, the British moved into the King David Hotel. Their offices and secretariat were housed in the hotel's southern wing. At the end of World War II, anti-British sentiment in Palestine escalated and tension mounted between Arab and Jew. Jewish underground groups were formed to drive the British out of Palestine forever.
Now, if you give an appointment at 3 o'clock in the morning at the King David, you're not coming to play tennis here or to swim. You're coming to do business, and secret business, lousy, dirty business, whatever they want to call it. The King David was known for this, and that's why it was blown up.
בגין נתן את ההוראה לבצע את הפעולה הזו, בגלל מה שההגנה ביקשה את זה, בגלל שהיו לה מסמכים, המסמכים אז התגלו בסוכנות היהודית, ואז הביאו אותם ללקון, כאן זה המקום היחידי שמחזיקים את כל הארכיון.
Moshe Tanuri and Itzhak Zadok, fourth-generation Jerusalemites, joined the Jewish underground as young men.
My commanders told me that I have to come and to dress beautifully. And for me, it was the first time in my life that I already went into the King David, into a dancing place.
Sarah Agassi, born in Jerusalem in the 1920s, came from an Orthodox Jewish family. She joined the Jewish underground movement when still a teenager.
I was very young and a little shy, but already we came in this place, so we danced. We looked around the hotel, every corner, to know exactly how to go in or to put a bomb or everything around.
אתה זוכר מאיפה יצאנו, נכון?
יצאנו
בסרט תלמוד תורה בית אהרון.
בית אהרון היה טנדר אחד, אתה זוכר, עם פריזנט, ובפנים היו הקדים של החלב, ואתה יודע איפה אני עמדתי? אני עמדתי על יד המטבח, וכל מי שנתפס הכניסו אותו למטבח. כן, שמה, שרצו לצאת,
העולם היה מלא אנשים, מלא.
כולם למטבח.
למטבח וגם מכבסה, למכבסה, לאט לאט.
I was a spy when I was working in the King David Hotel.
Palestine-born David Rubovitz worked for 3 years in the King David as head of transport for the British Army. At the same time, he was a member of a Jewish underground group.
My liaison girl suggested that I take leave for a week or two. I said, if I'll be absent on that very day of the operation, my employers would surely suspect that I knew beforehand what is going to happen.
ככה הרמתי את הכד, לקחתי אותו מהטנדר, שמתי אותו על הכתף שלי והתחלתי ללכת מהר, עד שהגעתי לכאן לעמוד. ואנחנו נצמדנו את הכדים לעמוד. ופה זה היה המרכז, הורדתי את הכד בבת אחת ככה.
We had a terrific explosion. It was heard like an atom bomb. We felt that the whole building is going a bit up and then down. And it was such a heavy smoke, it covered the sunlight.
We make 3 calls to warning the hotel that we put bombs into it. And please take out the people from there. But the British didn't allow them to go out. They said, it cannot be that Jewish people will put bombs in this place.
By the afternoon of the 22nd of July, 1946, 91 men and women had died. Of these, 41 were Arab, 28 British, and 17 Jewish.
For 3 days, I used to stay here day and night, listening to the crying of the people there, the rebels on their heads, and the machines trying to see. After 3 days, no more crying, no more shouting, no more sounds came.
I went to see, where is my clarinet? There was no sign of piano, no sign of anything. Everything was like powder. And I found parts of my clarinet. This is only the metal of the clarinet I found, keeping this for years as a memory. This is the only thing which I found.
It was the worst tragedy in Jerusalem witnessed since the Crusades. Everybody was unhappy, was grieved, was distressed, because King David was a minaret of joy and happiness. It was the pride of Jerusalem.
This is my smile. It's my commercial smile.
A professional smile.
Well, it becomes professional after so many years in this job.
C'est ce qu'on appelle un défaut professionnel. Voilà. No, mais quand même, but it's also your real.
No,
you
it's
give
my,
from yourself something.
It is
you
my,
smile to somebody.
it is my real smile.
When you see $100, you don't smile seriously?
No, not with $100, even with $1 or without $1. So you do give
you
this smile.
You start smiling like a traffic light, what we say, tamurim, like this.
Well, after so many years.
After nearly 30 years of British rule in Palestine, the United Nations voted in favor of a Jewish state. 6 months later, in the middle of May 1948, British officials took down the Union Jack, which had been flying over the King David Hotel, and left the country. On the same day, in Tel Aviv, the country's first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, declared the establishment of the State of Israel.
I was 15 and a half years old when I come here in the King David. Mr. Mando Taraganov, he was the maitre d' of the hotel. He just saw me. He was afraid to see me, dirty boy. He said, listen, you go and wash yourself 20 hours at least, and just buy trousers and shoes and everything, and then come. I can't see you. Go immediately.
David Nahama was born in Egypt in 1938 and came to Palestine in 1949. Nearly 50 years after his inauspicious start, he is now assistant head of room service.
So I decide to myself, you know what? Presentation, it's your picture.
Joseph Weizmann was born in Morocco and came to Israel in 1962. 3 years later, at the age of 25, he started work at the King David as a bellboy and is now the smiling face behind reception.
Tous les membres du Parlement israélien ainsi que le Premier ministre venaient habiter l'hôtel une fois par semaine. Ben-Gurion, c'était un gars qui était très sympathique. On l'avait surnommé le Vieux. C'était la personne qui, je crois, il ne se peignait jamais, il ne se coiffait jamais. Alors automatiquement, il avait toujours des cheveux, alors qui étaient là, qui sortaient comme ça. Et puis quand il rentrait, il avait une façon de marcher, c'était comme un Charlie Chaplin. Alors il rentrait comme ça, bonjour, bonjour tout le monde, bonjour. C'était comme ça comment qu'il parlait. Mais alors c'était d'une façon très rapidement. D'ailleurs, c'était très connu que quand même il parlait, c'était très difficile de le comprendre parce qu'il parlait vite. C'était ça, Ben-Gurion. Il avait quelqu'un vraiment qui le gardait, mais alors c'était son vrai garde-corps, c'était sa femme. Elle s'appelait Paula Ben-Gurion.
She called me first of all. She said, David, she knows him. She said, David, come here. You see these people? Why do they make so much noise? I don't know. This is not America here. I always serve her. Until now, I can tell you exactly what Mr. Ben-Gurion had his breakfast. He has, with colors, so many colors. First of all, he has applesauce, it's a brown color. He wants raspberry sour, which is a red color. He wants yogurt, which is a white color. And then he wants porridge. And then he wants the Nescafe only with milk. He was reading the newspaper without taking his eyes what he's doing. And she only changed the things, the course. Grapefruit is finished, Nescafe starting, and she put the water. And then you know what? More interesting, you know what she put, what she finished? She put in the chair. She has 2 chairs near her, empty chair. She put all the things, what she finished, not at the table. And then she come in, pss, pss, David, pss, pss. She didn't want nothing on the table. She didn't want nobody to see what he eating.
Between 1948 and 1954, the population of Israel doubled, causing food shortages and serious economic problems for the new nation. Austerity measures and food rationing had to be introduced.
Mais écoutez, Moshe Dayan, il avait qu'un seul œil. Et cet œil-là était toujours fixé sur les femmes et non sur quelqu'un d'autre. Quand il regardait une femme, eh ben, franchement, il ne la ratait pas.
על מי שסיפר לי שהכסף היה זה ככה.
שהיא הרביצה לדיין בין הרגליים, הכניסה לו מכה.
כן, כן, משה דיין.
ששלחו אותה לעשות לו חדר, להוריד כיסוי. וכולם ידעו שהוא זנאי. אז היא הייתה עולה חדשה, שלחו אותה. היא באה לשם, רק היא מתכופפת למיטה להוריד את הכיסוי. הוא בא מאחורה, תפס אותה ככה. אז היא הסתובבה, נתנה לו בין הרגליים. אז הוא אמר לה, את יודעת מי אני משה דיין. אמרה, אתה כוסימה שלך, אתה לא תיגע בי. אני רוצה, מי שאני רוצה, אני אתן לו לבד.
זה נכון, אמת.
הוא רוצה 600 ב-600, 12.
With the same red carpet, and this is where I was waiting for you.
A long time ago.
1956, Jerusalem was a small town, a very small provincial town. And ours was the first wedding since World War II at the King David Hotel in Jerusalem.
We were just coming out of the time of austerity and rationing.
And the view was exactly the same. The old city, the walls of the old city, with one big difference. We had Jordanian soldiers parading up and down on top of the wall.
We saw the legionnaires with their red kerchiefs.
In those days, this was Jordan, the old city was Jordan, and the Jordanian soldiers watched our wedding.
Werner Lobel arrived in Israel from Germany, and Pamela Sable came as a young girl with her parents from England. Today, as Werner and Pamela Laval, they and their family live and work in Jerusalem. In the late 1950s, Jerusalem, a divided city, attracted few tourists. Empty, the King David fell into disrepair. Then, in 1957, the head of the Dan hotel chain, Yekutiel Federman, together with members of his family, bought the King David. Modernization started immediately, and 2 new floors were added in anticipation of Israel's new tourist industry. Staff were encouraged to discuss their feelings about the new hotel for the new state.
נכנסתי, הוא אומר, בואי, שלום, מר פדרמן, שלום, יושב בכורסה. עכשיו אני מסדרת לו מיטה, הוא מדבר איתי, אבל את עובדת מהר וטוב, עושה מיטות יפות. כמה שנים את עובדת פה? אמרתי, 15 שנה. נו, טוב לך פה? אמרתי, כן, אני אוהבת את המלון, את המקום העבודה, אני מבסוטית פה. אם לא אוהבים, אז לא נשאר. כמה את מקבלת? אמרתי, 1,500, 1,600, הוא אומר לי, נקי. מה זאת אומרת בלי? אמרתי, כן. תראי, מר פדרמן, מה שלוקחים לא מעניין אותי, אני תמיד מסתכלת איפה מה שנכנס לי בכיס. הוא אומר, כן, את צודקת. אחר כך לא היה לי נעים. אמרתי, טוב, כסף לא הכל, אומר. לא נכון, אם את רוצה סדר בחיים צריך כסף.
אז למה הוא לא עושה?
אז למה הוא לא נותן?
כן, פעם אחת, כן. היא הייתה ממזרתה.
Israel in the 60s still was a country that struggles each day for its survival. At that time, the King David was really feeling the life of Israel.
Gideon Avrami also spent his childhood at the hotel as son of the late Zvi Avrami, King David's charismatic manager between 1960 and 1972.
My father had his connections through things that happened in the hotel with matters that dealt with the security and the secret services of the country. So he was a man of many, many things beside being the general manager of the King David Hotel. The year is 1966. Israel expected for the first time a visit of the highest representative of Germany, New Germany, the Chancellor Adenauer. The Secret Service at that time advised that my father will not be present during the visit because of his background as a survivor of the Holocaust, of a concentration camp. When my father heard about it, he took the telephone, he called Prime Minister. He told him, if I'm not here, the Chancellor is not here. You can choose another hotel. My father took aside all his feelings, all his emotions. He welcomed the Chancellor. Imagine yourself, an Israeli, a Jew, a survivor from the Holocaust, stands in a hotel, in a very representative hotel in Israel, as an Israeli, greets the German chancellor, this is a big victory.
The following year, in June 1967, war broke out between Israel and her Arab neighbors. There was fighting on all fronts. For 2 days, street battles raged in the Jordanian-controlled Jerusalem. The King David received frequent shelling. The old city fell into Israeli hands. A once divided Jerusalem became Israel's capital and remains bitterly disputed to this day. Eric Silver worked as a journalist on The Guardian before emigrating to Israel. He is a regular visitor to the King David.
The first time I ever stayed at the King David was about a week after the ceasefire. And I remember I stayed in a room in the South Wing, the famous South Wing that was blown up. And I looked across southwards, and there was a constant stream of tens, probably of thousands of Israelis, just like a river flowing across, going to visit the Western Wall. And I suddenly pinched myself and I said, look, it matters to those people. It matters to those people because they're the same as you, they're Jewish. And I said, okay, I'm going to put my pen down, I'm going to go and see and join them.
Using the King David as his base, US Secretary of State Henry Kissinger began the process of shuttle diplomacy between Israel and her Arab neighbors in the aftermath of the Yom Kippur War, a war which began in 1973 on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, when Egypt launched a massive surprise attack against Israel. Kissinger and the hotel were at the center of media and world attention. Security measures in and around the hotel were reinforced. Jerusalem-born Orna Cohen was a teenager at the time of the Yom Kippur War. Her father was born in Jerusalem and her mother came from Morocco as a 15-year-old. Orna is head florist at the King David and works often unnoticed in all areas of the hotel. Over the years, she has overheard personal stories and anecdotes.
שמעתי שבשטח עצום בגינה גידלו שיחים של אופיום. היה ביקור של קיסינג'ר בארץ, ובעצם עלו על כל הקטע הזה כשהגיעה משלחת אמריקנית, ואנשי ביטחון יצאו לבדוק את השטח, ואז הכלבים שלהם התחילו להשתולל.
Avram Weiner survived Theresienstadt concentration camp and worked as a waiter at the King David upon arrival in Palestine. He is now chief of protocol.
If Mr. Kissinger need a cup of chicken soup or ice cream, I was there. And this picture was taken in 1974 in a state dinner in the King David. Nobody said what I saw on this picture. Mr. Kissinger was dealing with the Syrians, and I have to move the microphone, and I was very close to Mr. Kissinger. And I said, even Mr. Kissinger had something under the eye, and a little tear come out. Maybe he had a little Jewish feeling. But after 32 days, that's he done something. Because the next day they come out with the ceasefire, I mean, till now. It's the quietest place in the Middle East, the Syrian border.
After leading the country for 29 years, the Labour Party, headed by Yitzhak Rabin, lost the 1977 election to the right-wing Likud Party, headed by the former Jewish underground leader who orchestrated the bombing of the King David Hotel. The victor was Menachem Begin.
אני דייר במלון הזה 25 שנה. אני בכלל לא יצאתי מכאן. אני פה דייר קבוע. ומה ההבדל? אני אותו בן אדם, לן במלון המלך דוד, כמעט באותה מיטה. ואותו בן אדם קם בבוקר, מזמין עיתונים, מזמין ארוחת בוקר. כל העובדים במלון, כפי שאתה רואה אותם, כולם ידידיי האישיים.
Depuis qu'il était membre du Parlement, jusqu'à ce qu'il est devenu Premier ministre, il avait toujours le même manteau. Je peux dire pendant peut-être 12, 13 ans, 14 ans, parce que à chaque fois qu'il arrivait, je l'accompagnais dans sa chambre et je prenais toujours le même manteau en main, je le reconnaissais très bien. Une fois, je me rappelle, je lui ai posé la question, que c'était lui qui avait organisé l'explosion de l'hôtel. Il a dit ce qu'on avait fait dans le temps, c'était pour tout le monde. C'était notre devoir à nous tous de faire ça pour pouvoir faire sortir les Anglais d'ici. Parce que les Anglais n'avaient pas le droit de rester. Et d'ailleurs, lui quand il parlait, il toujours levait les bras. Et d'ailleurs, ce que nous avons fait, c'était notre devoir. Et personne ne pouvait nous enlever cela. C'était sa façon de parler. Begin, c'était sa façon de parler. Most of the old clients here in the hotel, they call us that we are parts of the hotel furniture.
No, don't exaggerate. You are the columns of the hotel,
Well, you
maybe,
can
but
call it
not
the
the furniture of the hotel.
Well, some of the guests, they did told me that. Yeah.
I am Jewish. This is my friend Imad. He's a Muslim. And he worked in David 1 year.
Muslim and Jewish, we are together here. The same.
We're going to eat together, we're going to break together, everything. I come to visit him in his home.
We hope to be good for everyone.
The people who come to work here, they don't bring all the political situation from outside to the hotel. We are like a friend. Maybe outside they want to kill me. I don't know. But in the hotel I don't feel it. And I believe the Jews and the Arab can live together with no problem.
The governments is the problem, not here with the people. We work together and live together, but the problem with the governments, not with us.
אם אני הייתי ראש ממשלה וכל אלה שהיו אצלנו היו מלצרים, אני הייתי מעדיף שקלינטון ישרת אותי, למה? כי הוא אדם נחמד וחייכן וטוב, והוא גברי ממש טוב.
Maurice Omezgin and Sami Alayan are friends who have worked together for many years. Maurice, a Moroccan Jew, came to Israel in 1967, whilst Sami, a Palestinian Muslim, was born in Jerusalem and now works as head waiter.
מה היית מעדיף אתה, סמי?
הייתי מעדיף סאדאת.
סאדאת, אללה ירחמו.
אללה ירחמו, תעיש. בגלל שהוא אדם רציני, ואדם, יש לו, איך אומרים, יש לו, לא מפחד, לא פחדן, ולא, זאת אומרת, הוא בא לארץ, הוא עשה שלום, וזה משהו, בגלל זה, כן.
November 1977. President Anwar Sadat surprises the world by declaring his wish to visit Israel on a mission of peace.
So the manager called us and he said that we have a visit. Anwar Sadat, President of Egypt. It was something.
As a child of 4, Sarah Sabo survived Auschwitz. For nearly 40 years, she has worked in the hotel business. Sadat's visit was for her the high point of her career.
I want to tell you, I prepared in my years many important visits. But a visit like for Anwar Sadat, I think it was the first time and the last time, I'm speaking for myself, that I had such a good feeling.
Over 30 years had passed since an Arab leader set foot in the King David. The hotel was emptied of its guests, and staff were given less than 24 hours to prepare for this historic event. Despite working at the hotel for many years, Daud Salman, a Palestinian Israeli, was told by the Israeli security not to work during the visit of Sadat.
When Sadat came here to Israel, the general manager called me and he told me, Daud, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not allowed all of you to work in these two days when Sadat came. I said, why? What happened? Sadat came for peace, not for war. And in this time, I was working 25 years in this hotel, and I served all the important people in the world, and I don't think it's fair. And he was agree with me, and we continued to work. But I don't feel so good when they told me to go home.
We couldn't believe it. We cried. We were so excited for Israel, for us, I mean, that thank God that peace is coming.
כשהגיע סאדאת ובגין, אז הזמינו תה. אני מוזג את התה, והקומקום, היד שלי רועדת. היד שלי רועדת, אז בגין אומר לי, בני, אל תתרגש, זה רק אדם. ואחר כך הוא לקח אותו לחלון, אומר לו, look the old city. באנגלית אומר לו, תסתכל על שער יפו, על איזה יופי.
היה שם שומר ראש של סאדאת והזמין חומוס. אנחנו באים למחרת, פתאום אני רואה כולם חיוורים, הולכים ובאים רופאים וזה. רופא ישראלי, רופא אמריקאי ורופא שלהם. הוא קבע את מותו שזה לא מאוכל ולא חשבו שהרעלנו אותו. אז בסוף הוא נפטר מהתקף לב, הביאו אותו ארגז מטען, אולי איזה גודל כזה, הגובה. שמו אותו בתוך מטען הזה, לקחו אותו מהמעליות, מעל הגג, הורידו אותו לכיוון השני לבריכה עם מסעית, ואף אחד לא ידע.
ארי, תן להם להתקדם קודם, תן להם להתקדם.
שלומך, איך אתה? וואלה, טוב לראות אותך. It was the best, le meilleur.
Well, the tipping was very good, believe me. One time I have 200 pounds cash, only one guest. 200 pounds.
Max Ben Lulu, born in Casablanca, has been collecting tips and opening car doors at the King David since 1962.
Some help?
The best tip what I get was from the American ambassador, St. Louis. He gave me $150 tip. Why? I was nice to him. And tell me, have a good time, Harry. Hope I see you again.
Harry Turner, born in Vienna in the 1920s, came to Palestine after the Holocaust and has been nice to people for as many years as Max.
28 years. We came here on a honeymoon.
Yeah.
And they said if we come back every year, we will stay married. And we're still married.
Yeah.
So listen to these guys. They do a great job.
You left
They got skin. I'm trying to get as handsome as you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get good looking. Be well. Be well. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
now I check hand with Mr. Ranit.
Okay.
I don't know how much he gave me. He gave me $100.
You see? The
Also,
same.
it's the same. No, sure it came.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's
See?
all the same. You see that? That's the best one.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. They
No
give
problem.
me 100, 200.
Yeah. Let me see. You see? No problem.
During the 1980s, the red carpet became a familiar sight in the King David, as world leaders came to Jerusalem in an effort to solve the problems of the Middle East. This culminated in the signing of the Oslo Peace Accord in 1993 with the PLO. In November 1995, with the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, dreams of a lasting peace in the Middle East were temporarily shelved. His funeral united the entire Israeli nation and world leaders. The hotel was cleared of all its guests within 24 hours in order to accommodate all who came to mourn his loss.
מתי מסכן, יצחק רבין נפטר, שהרגו אותו, כמה אנשים היו פה?
621-2 זה קלינטון.
522 ראש ממשלת אנגליה, איך קראו לו? אני שכחתי. ראש ממשלה.
ג'ון בייג'ר.
בארבע מובארק.
מובארק. קומה 3.
בשלישית אני חושבת חוסיין היה.
לא, 2.
בשנייה. היה מאוד קשה, היה מאוד קשה, וגם חוץ מזה שבכינו כל היום.
כן. זה היה מאוד קשה.
היה צר לנו וגם בכי וגם, את יודעת, צר גדול.
זה נורא כואב.
שזה קרה במדינה שלנו.
Where there is any terrorist or anything outside, we can feel it here in the hotel. Few of the staff look at us like we do with our, we done it.
Mohammed Miki Alayan, a Palestinian Israeli, started work at the King David in 1976. In 1997, he was appointed manager of the coffee shop.
אני מקווה שבאחד הימים אני אוכל לשרת את יאסר ערפאת עם ביבי נתניהו או עם כל מנהיג ישראלי אחר במדינה הזאת במלון הזה. וברגע שהמנהיגים הערבים יתחילו להגיע לקינג דיוויד, אנחנו נרגיש שאנחנו חלק מהשלום הזה, אנחנו חלק, תרמנו את החלק שלנו למדינה ולשלום.
Taleb Abu Snena is also a Palestinian Israeli and has worked as a waiter in the main dining hall for the last 15 years.
والله صدقيني من قلبي بالعربي بدي احكي من قلبي اروح زي اللي بيروح على السعوديه زي اللي بيروح على تل ابيب يعني نفسي اروح زي ما بدي اروح على عمان ولا على السعوديه ولا على مصر ولا على تل ابيب ولا على حيفا كلها خط واحد ولا صريخ لو محسومين بلو بطيخ وتصيم الحيوت بشلوم بشاكت بيوفي بالهنوت ما حيم بس كلها نحن قرحيم على دمازو لا يتم عود كاما شنا شنتين كاما شنين والخيم لو نشارين מקווה שיהיה שלום ונחיה בשלום.
יפה, מוזיקה יפה לכם, אל תדאגו.
Ladies and gentlemen, please order your last drink.